Hello, hello, dear family of the astrology. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be discussing the astrology of the Libra equinox. It corresponds to the fall in the north hemisphere and the spring in the southern hemisphere. Due to the tropics, right? And the change of seasons according to the Earth orbiting around the Sun because of the inclination of the Earth axis. So we have then a time when we start a new season, meaning Libra is a cardinal sign. And that is why we have a change in the weather, right? A marked change, especially in some places that are not so close to the equator. In the equator, of course, is where the sun is at the moment. So meaning that is equal day and night length. So here is the map of the equinox, the fall equinox, meaning for the northern hemisphere. And here is the shadow of the planets on the northern American continent. So we have the sun in the midheaven, and it is opposing Saturn and Neptune on the IC. So we will see that it goes through these states from Arizona. I think this is, well, I don't know my states actually, but if you live there, you will know, right? So there could be certain important events happening through these states. And the moon, it is at the midheaven, passing through these other states and the mountain, let's say mountain time places. We have Mars significantly going through the eastern part of the country. And Mars is in the midheaven here. So we may see aggression there. We may see movement of troops, etc., in those areas where Mars is traveling through the midheaven. And then we have Jupiter on the descendant here in the ocean. So you figure out, and also Uranus is crossing the IC in California. So we may see earthquakes or it's in the DC, so we may see surprising events regarding the relationships of California, and it's actually at the border between California and Oregon. So those are the places that will be more significant during the next 3 months, because the equinox marks the start of this season that takes 3 months. Okay, so, and these are the lines over Europe. So we'll see now Russia flying over some of the countries in that belong to Europe. We see that Pluto is running over the midheaven in these countries, Norway, Sweden, Germany, west of Austria, and Italy, etc. So there are powerful transformations, especially, let me see, especially here at the border of Austria and Germany, where Pluto in the midheaven crosses the line of Uranus in the AC. So here at the border of Austria and Germany, we may see developments. We see also Jupiter crossing the IC in France. Jupiter is transiting Cancer, so it will be something regarding the land, the people, the assets of and the resources of the country could come to the news. And so on and so forth. So we see Jupiter crossing Russia, the Russia Federation here in the most eastern part and is on the AC. So we may expect expansion, Jupiter, of Russia. Something is brewing, so this is the astrology. I don't know about the veracity of the news. We really don't know exactly and truthfully what is going on, but the astrology is showing an expansion of Russia. Uh, Anyways, here we have the northern part of South America where they will have a spring equinox. In fact, the equator goes through here. You see the zero. This is the line of the equator. That's why the Ecuador, the country of Ecuador, is named Ecuador, is because it is exactly on the equator, right? So now there is a powerful transformation. Pluto on the ascendant, crossing Venezuela. You can't make this up. I mean, astrology is so illustrative. So it is a transformation of Venezuela, and also it crosses over the border with Colombia. It crosses over Ecuador and north part of Peru. Another point of conflict maybe is the border between Nicaragua and Panama, because Mars is in the midheaven here and is crossing Jupiter on the descendant. So something around here could be either conflict or border conflict, or it could also be storms, right? We are in hurricane season, so maybe that is what it is about. Otherwise, Uranus is crossing the IC, crossing Brazil, and also the eastern part of Paraguay, Uruguay. So we have surprises on the subject of resources of the land. For the fourth house would be the AIC. According to Deborah Houlding, in mundane astrology, the IC or the fourth house would represent the land, the owners of the land, workers on the land, crops and produce. Remember what I said about France, that is also going through France, the farming, mining industry, building and the property markets. I'm just reading from what Deborah Houlding is saying. So the supplies that feed the nation from beneath the earth, such as the pipes of water or the pipes of gas industry. So And in the opposite 10th house, those who oppose the government, the king, or the recognized order. So it is also rebellion. So Uranus in the IC would represent rebellion against the power, the current powers. Anyways, that's for an overview. Now, I have the chart here, and as you can see, it's a complex chart. Every element is in relationship with other elements, except for Jupiter, that seems to be unaspected, mainly doesn't have a traditional aspect like Ptolemean aspect. So Jupiter may be here acting uh, like if it were out of bounds, right? Extremely expansion, extreme manifestations of protection, of looking for shelter. Cancer is the sign that represents the patriotism and the protection of one's country, one's tribe, one's home. So here Jupiter is kind of in excess, like is commonly said on steroids. It's just because not only is he exalted in Cancer, but is also unaspected. But all the rest of the players are in connection with each other. Let's go on the how do you say, the Lord of each element is to find out which is the planet that is dominant here. Okay, let's start by the sun. The sun here is ruled by Venus. Venus is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is in mutual reception with Venus. So is the moon is also ruled by Venus. So here we have a loop where Venus is, even though he's not happy in Virgo, he is in fall because he's exalted in Pisces, but Venus has the upper hand over this sun. So the other rulers, let's go one by one. Mars is in rulership. However, if we consider the modern ruler, Pluto is in Aquarius and is ruled by Uranus. Also by Saturn. So if we consider Uranus, we go back in Gemini. We go back to Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, and Venus, the ruler of Libra. So another rulership of Pluto will be Saturn in Pisces, which ruler is Jupiter, as I said, is unaspected, and the modern ruler is Neptune, which is ruled by Mars. So here we have two upper hands, if you like. We have Venus, which is ruling most of the planets, and Mars, which is in domicile. So we have this this chart that is asking for action. Action in the sign of Scorpio is action of research, for example, investigation, going and cutting through the cutting through the hidden aspects of life, cutting through psychological issues, cutting through crime, to hidden deals, right? So Mars is going deep into investigation. And not only that, but it's square Pluto, and it's an applying square. So what this means, to me at least, is that we have double efforts here. And Mars and Pluto square are not a good, pretty picture. And there is a risk of more aggression, impulsive cruelty, and just out of control conflict. But on the other hand, if we combine the Scorpio Mars that is working and digging very deeply on things that are hidden, in square with Pluto in Aquarius, that Aquarius represents not only the internet, science, technology, society at large, the collective consciousness, but it also represents the marketplace. As I always say, Aquarius is very much the plaza, the market at the main square of the city. And in ancient times, that was the place where people exchanged their goods. And they did commerce. So it is the marketplace. So we have investigations going deeply into the dealings that are involved in those commercial exchange, the trade, international trade, and trade in general in society. So on the other hand, Venus is the other upper hand of this chart, because, as I said before, is ruling most of the other planets, or is the final dispositor of the chart. So Venus in Virgo, she represents values, right? Everything that we value in order to sustain life. She represents relationships and how we relate to other people, how we find agreements, compromises, how we make equity exchanges, meaning the same give and take in order to have a balanced relationship. And especially regarding all those things that are not working properly, because Virgo represents all the issues that are out of balance. Like, for example, when we get sick, is because the systems in our body are out of balance. And when we do service, like Virgo is very much into service, right? And why? Well, because Virgo likes to fix problems, help, and give a hand, and try to repair what is not working. That's why Venus in Virgo, it is valuing the need to help, the need to do service, the need to the need to work and organize ourselves in order to clean our act, right? So sorry, but I need to plug my computer just a second. Exactly. Talking about Venus in Virgo, she is very concerned about feeding what needs to be fed, right? Because Virgo often represents people who go hungry, right? And so my computer was asking for food. Anyways, okay, so we have the sun, of course, at 0° Libra, and it is opposing Neptune. But in fact, it is opposing both Saturn and Neptune. The sun just opposed Saturn. Let me tell you when. Uh, at 0 midnight before the same day, 22nd of September 2025, and the eclipse happens at 2:54 or 3 p.m. So just 15 hours before Sun opposing Neptune, the Sun opposed Saturn. So we need to consider this as an opposition. Sun opposes the conjunction because, in fact, it is opposing the midpoint between Saturn and Neptune, which is a kind of a combination of the two, the energy of those two planets. So I'm going to expand a little bit more about that. So here I have the book of Michael Munchesi about midpoints. You probably don't see it, but okay. So it's called Midpoints. And if we read what he says about the sun opposing the midpoint between Saturn and Neptune, it says add effectiveness to any deceptive practices initiated. And it also weakness of character, not immediately evident. New confidence to overcome nervousness in life's situation. And drama and flair added to display of illusion. So it's we have here the explanation about how this configuration, this opposition, it says caution, pessimism, and rigidity meet in evasion, dreaminess, inefficiency, in themes that allow you to fool others with delusions of personal integrity. So they deepen or extend any deceptive practices in progress and help people avoid restrictions for past activities. These motives represent neglect that has persisted over long periods, bring confusion or denial about responsibility for present conditions, and mirror disappointment over general lack of accountability. These topics help bring control over your dreams and visions and help you alternate between an ever elusive reality and the presence of illusions. They also denote a weakness in the areas of personal discipline or wariness, allow subtle hints of pessimism to creep through facades, and encourage caution for those who attempt deceptive practices. Here you find favor and a lasting inspiration at a spiritual level, and also from other mystical persons and practices. So, in summary, we will see, since this is also the continuation of the eclipse, the solar eclipse, where authorities have been eclipsed, and things that authorities have been doing are kept secret. So it's very hard to know today for the common folk to know what the authority is doing actually. And there is also a loss of faith and a loss of status, a loss of integrity, and a loss of authority in reality. So there is probably authority figures that will disappear for one reason or another, or fall from grace, or fall from their position in some way. This is what a solar eclipse is usually bringing. And with this exact opposition of the Sun, authority figure, to Neptune, we can count on their either being delusional or trying to deceive, or also losses of authority figures, like disappearance of a certain head of state or a king or some high level authority. And if we think about the Sun in the sign of Libra, it could be someone who is promoting peace, agreements, someone who is probably demanding justice, or someone who works in the judicial system, or someone who is an attorney, for example, or someone who really is invested in conversations for peace, for example. So that could be the case. It also, we need to consider that the eclipse happened in the sign of Virgo, 29 degrees. So it was the end of some authority figure that was having problems, let's say Virgo, right? There's some things that needed to be fixed or something. And this is the chart for the next 3 months until the solstice, the winter or summer solstice. So it is very similar to the chart of the eclipse, which I have described in the video called the solar eclipse in Virgo. So you can review that one for more information. I just gave you some tips that I hadn't discussed before. But in this video, on the contrary, I'm going to focus on the planets Saturn, Neptune, first of all, and then I will talk about Pluto in Aquarius. So let me explain why. So pretty soon I'm having an interview with the respected astrologer Lynn Koiner, who has been researching the Kite Pattern for decades. So she has a lot to say about what she has observed and correlate to the Kite Pattern. So keep your eyes open, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell for notifications so you receive the announcement when the video is published. So let's talk a little bit about Saturn and conjunct Neptune. So this is mainly a dissolution of structures. And in the chart, you can see that at this moment, Neptune is at the degree and almost the minute where the conjunction will happen in February, which is 0 degrees 45 minutes of Aries. So already we can see like an announcement or a foreshadow, let's say, a foreshadow of what the conjunction will bring, because Neptune, it is dissolving, right? It's like the water of the ocean that is dissolving all the salts, and is putting all life together in the same content and the same container, let's say. So, Neptune represents that element of dissolution and of delusion as well. When you put salt and water and you stir it, so it's dissolved. This is the effect of Neptune. And at the 0 degrees of Aries, what is dissolving? Well, I think I take Aries to be the sign of identity, of taking of the self concept, right? And in the mundane level, this represents, for example, nationality, what we identify with, for example, my country of origin, my culture, my name, my religion, my political identification, etc., etc. So people take multiple identities oftentimes, right? Now, in the how is this happening? Just look around your world and you will see how these identities tend to be dissolving. So even with immigrants being deported to third countries where they have nothing in common, like, for example, a person from Venezuela sent to Africa where they have never been before. So, and also the concern that people have with issues that are happening thousands of miles away, with which we feel identified, meaning death, suffering, the wars, the conflict. We feel so much identified because it could be us, right? Because we are all the same humanity. We feel the suffering. With Neptune, we share together this ultimate identity that we have, right? Is we are all human beings in the end. So we share that identity, that Aries identity. And Neptune, how is Neptune dissolving this? Well, making us understand that we are all the same, that we are all human beings. We all have 2 legs, 2 arms, a head. We all have a heart and suffering and feelings. We are all the same kind, the same race. So the human race, which is the only race scientifically proven and defined. Anyways, so I think when Saturn and Neptune come back to the 0 degree 46 or 45 minutes of Aries, there will be this complete dissolution of local identities. Like, for example, I was looking at the birth of the concept of nation states. And apparently that was born around mid 16th century, 1648, when after in Europe a 30-day war, there was the Peace of Westphalia. And with this treaty, we can say that the nation state notion was born. Because up until that time, there were kingdoms, there were lords of Dutch counties, etc. And there were empires like the Ottoman Empire, different kinds of empires. There were dynasties. There were absolute authorities, let's say. And they were the lords and owners of the land. But starting in mid 1600s, there was this new concept of the nation state. And I was looking at the chart of that peace treaty. I have it here. And coincidentally, it has Jupiter at 28 degrees, 51 minutes of Virgo. So we have this solar eclipse. It is conjunct that Jupiter. So meaning, what does it mean next to the South Node? So we are leaving behind the expansion of nation states, the proliferation, let's say, of nation states. It's also a time when Uranus and Neptune are opposing a conjunction of Saturn and Pluto. And the axis is Sagittarius, ruled by this Jupiter and Virgo. And the axis of Sagittarius and Gemini. So many Gemini, right? And there is propagation, let's say Sagittarius, all over the Western world. In some places in the Eastern world also happened, but this was a process that started with this Peace of Westphalia and was developing through the revolution of the 1700s that was happening between 1778 and 1798. Where, of course, the United States declared independence, where there was the French Revolution, etc. So the nation-state notion or concept was kind of solidified during that period. And then of course, we assume that we live in a world with borders. However, Saturn and Neptune conjoining at 0 degrees of Aries is guaranteed that those borders will be erased, that we will entering a different kind of world, different kind of reality, for which Saturn is giving structure and Neptune is giving amplitude, let's say, is expanding all over. Aries is the 0 Aries rules the whole world. So I think we can think of a new world without borders, without distinction of countries. And how do I think this is a viable interpretation? It is because one by one we see the most powerful countries so far that until now they have been the most powerful are falling under their economic crash. So we see the many countries in Europe are broke. United States is broke. So, in many other small countries are really struggling to keep afloat with a deficit that is impossible to imagine the numbers in the head because there are so many. There is huge. The debt they have is huge and is impossible to be paid. So I think that something will change. Venus again. Venus in Virgo is trying to solve a certain problem that we have with administration, Virgo, right? Organization, Virgo, cleaning the act, right? And putting things in order, solving this economic problem. So there is this underlying movement to fix this problem. And I think the most viable will have as a consequence the erasure of borders, and the concept of nation states will be done with. So who knows what we are becoming? But I always remind you that I have a blog post, and I'm going to show it to you. So here I'm going to share the blog with you. I hope you can see it. Let's see. It takes some time. Yeah. Okay. So here is my blog. And the article is called The World That Is Coming. I published it June 23, 2023. And it's all about Saturn and Uranus cycle closing and opening a new cycle. So their cycle that is closing they have the last sextile between Saturn and Uranus, you see. It started in 1988. So here I explain the cycle at 29 Sagittarius, and the next conjunction will happen exactly opposite at 28 and almost 29 degrees of Gemini. So what this means, I analyze what this may mean here, and interpreting the archetypes. What that may mean is that we are coming back to from globalization. We are coming back to the local environment. So go ahead and read the blog, and you have a better idea, kind of an inspiration of what the next world could look like. Anyways, so I think this dissolution of borders, it is actually, and it's a sextile in Uranus, so it is a way to say goodbye to global life and welcome the local life. So let's go to the chart of the United States in the eclipse. Also the equinox, because the eclipse happened just a minute. The eclipse happened at the end of Virgo, and right as usual every year, the equinox coincides with the midheaven. However, at this time, Neptune is on the IC of the country, which is, of course, 1 degree 6 minutes. But it is in the fifth house, whole house system. So, if you see these collection of planets, the moon, the sun, Mercury are piled up in the 11th house. And the 11th house represents the legislation, the Congress, the laws that are implemented. Let me Okay, first of all, I'm going to read about the fifth house, which is something to keep in mind, very important, because Neptune entering the fifth house represents issues of diplomacy. The fifth house is the diplomacy, diplomats, and relationships with diplomacy. And Neptune is coming to dissolve that. And when Saturn and Neptune conjunct at 0:45, where Neptune is at this moment, we will see new structures, restructuring of the reality of diplomatic exchanges. So ambassadors, agents, those who negotiate as an intermediary with intention of finding agreements between parties, and is also the house of children, pregnancy, pregnant women, sex of the unborn child, the health and condition of children. If afflicted, like Neptune it is, of course, in opposition to the sun, there will be trouble and distress for children. So it's also about procreation and conception. And in mundane astrology, it could be all public places of recreation and enjoyment. So with the events that are going on, we see the dissolution, the places of enjoyment may be foggy in the sense of places where there is much use of drugs, for example, and where things are not very clear, confusion. There is also publicly owned state buildings, national arts and galleries, and we have seen the changes that have been underway when Saturn and Neptune were transiting together in Aries in the fifth house. So new structures that are erasing certain factors of the buildings that are owned by the federal government. So there is also a school and educational system. And we have seen how it was in the United States, it was attempted the restructuring of the educational system. And even the dissolution or the loss of the Department of Education. It's also about national birth rate and social issues related to children and the society's views on sexual issues or promiscuity. So, and we have seen since this new president that they changed the concept of sexual relations and the sexual conduct and all of that. So, we are not here giving any political opinion. So if you have a political opinion, you can make comments in videos that are political, because this is astrology. Okay, thank you. And then the 11th house, as I was about to read, I hope Miss Houlding doesn't have a problem with me sharing her book. Her book is called House Temples of the Temples Houses something. Let me see. I will give you the title of the book that you can buy online. Okay, so mundane astrology for the 11th house. Those in authority over the nation, prime ministers, governments, kings, presidents, kingdoms. Oh, that is the 10th house. Let's see. Yeah, that's the 10th house. And I have something to say about that also, but let's do 11th house. So the 11th house is the legislative power, the Congress, the House of Commons, the Parliament, and friends and allies of the nation. And it's also about the let's see, the hopes of the nation for the future. Long-term national programs and schemes for improving, which is a lot of discussion lately about those things. Also, lawsuits and conflicts are marked by the 11th house. So there is a lot of emphasis for the next 3 months regarding legislation and new laws. So in the 10th house, I need to point out that every time the South Node it transits through a house, it is weakening that house, weakening all the matters related, all the themes related to that house. And the South Node transiting the 10th house is debilitating the reputation of the country, including the reputation of its maximum authority or head of the state, which in this country is the president. And we have seen the discredit and much of the loss of reputation of both the country and also the trust in the country. So it brings up the past. It brings up issues from the past that the country, the main authority needs to deal with. And is also bringing past ideologies and past problems, because it's Virgo after all. So, and not only Virgo, but it has Neptune, it almost right next to the midheaven. So, so it's not clear what the president represents. It's not clear how clear the president is. And I'm not talking about the current president only. So it's always been kind of this authority figure that has a cloud around. And we actually, the people opposing the fourth house, right? Which is all the opposing party, for example, opposing powers. It's not clear what the president is doing, and if you think about it, the 10,000 Virgo is ruled by Mercury in Cancer in the eighth house. So the eighth house is everything that is done privately, secretly, with an orientation of national cancer, national protection. You hear around the world that United States government does this or does that to protect their interests, right? And interests are represented by the eighth house, right? Is when, for example, when you invest money, you earn interest, right? And if you take a loan, you have to pay interests. So interest is something associated, is a concept associated with the eighth house. So meaning that whatever the maximum authority represents, it is here in the hidden space, where the sun is, by the way, which also represents authority. So not only that, but Jupiter and Venus are there. So there is a lot of money made through secret dealings. Not only that, but we have Jupiter now in conjunction with Mercury. So this is a kind of expanding the secret manipulations, we can say, the secret dealings and actions of the maximum authority. And Jupiter also in Cancer represents excess of patriotism to a detriment, right? Because too much of some good things is not a good thing, right? When you have a lot of sugar, it's not good for you. Okay. So that's the thing to take into account, in spite of what could be said in the media, the reality, and also I always say you need to see the actions of people and forget about what people say, because people say things, all kinds of things. And right now, even AI may have people say things that they never said. Uh, so it's very hard to believe what people say. So look at their actions if possible, because oftentimes the actions are not in view. Sometimes the actions are covered by this cloud of Neptune. So look at the actions, and that is what you really can trust. Now, we see the North Node in the fourth house, which is increasing, is taking and bringing in energy. So we can see, in spite of what they might say, is that the people and the resources of the land are increasing. The power of the opposite party is in the process of increasing. So all those lunar eclipses, for example, have been in Pisces, have been illuminating the people, the land, what the country is all about. Now, if you remember, in the month of March, March 14, 2025, there was a lunar eclipse on Virgo, 2358 degrees, exactly by 1 minute, 1 degree, on Neptune. So this eclipse was illuminating and highlighting the deceptions, the lies, the disillusionment, the weakness, the deception in general, and delusions of the maximum authority. So things are taking a very tense aspect at the moment, as you see the opposition, Sun, Saturn, Neptune, as I read about. And it is a cardinal point, as I said. So there is this element of change, of radical change. And is all through laws and maybe lawsuits and all that because of the 11th house and because of the sign of Libra. Now, what else I wanted to say regarding the Sun in Libra is a sign that is, of course, opposite to the exaltation place for the Sun in Aries, right? So it is a debilitated Sun, meaning that the maximum authority, wherever in the world it might happen, is weakening. So another factor that we need to consider is Pluto in Aquarius, because Pluto is transforming and transmuting and empowering society. In addition, is out of bounds, which gives Pluto more freedom, let's say, to be more counter, more transformative, extreme cruelty, extreme power, and it could trigger collective risings and such. Now, it will be for this year up until November 23rd. So it's including the election day for the United States. So you can count on having people more aware of what of the political issues at stake. Now, regarding the uprisings, a few things that I would like to say. First of all, December 2020, Saturn and Jupiter conjoined in Aquarius, 0 Aquarius, in fact. And it's said that we started the air epoch, right? For 200 years, we have these two joining forces in air signs. And what does this mean for us? Well, when we talk about Pluto empowerment, we're talking about the sign of Aquarius. So I know there are protests, there are violence, there are, people who think that through violence they can obtain things. Well, yeah, but at what cost? So I would like to talk about the transformation of society in a different way. That is no violent. There is more reasonable and logical, right? Because of course I am a Virgo, so I'm ruled by Mercury, and and Aquarius actually is quincunx to me. So throughout my life, I had to learn how to deal with that house uh, associated with Aquarius. And I have learned something. So Aquarius is a sign that is not emotional. So last time there was a change, a massive change in society and all levels. Was end of the 17th century, right? From 1774 to 1798 or so, when Pluto was out of bounds south, transiting Aquarius, like he is right now. But how that revolution happened, if you think about it, it started with thinking, with intellect change, with ideas, innovative ideas. So, yes, it turned out to be bloody in the end, but the change comes from thinking. So, for example, philosophers like Rousseau, Kant, Voltaire, Adam Smith, Diderot, Hume, Montesquieu, Newton, Locke, and ladies like Wollstonecraft, Emily de Châtelet, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Paine, for example. These personalities were the thinkers. They gave the ideas what was at that time that needed to be changed in the collective consciousness. What ideas? And the ideas were independence, were equality, were against the autocratic, the absolute power of kings, and against imposing burdens on people, etc. So, and so much more that if you have studied any of those philosophers, then you remember what was about. However, today, I see that things start with violence first and then maybe thinking. So that is incorrect. So first of all, young people who are wanting to reform society need to be thinking and developing the new ideas for the future world in which they would like to live. Do you like to live in a world where you are watched, that you are controlled? Do you want to live in a world where you are free to think and to exchange ideas? Do you want to live in a world where you collaborate, Aquarius, you collaborate with other people and you brainstorm ideas with other people? We try to reconcile ideologies in order to advance, because if you always have this clash and clash, you go nowhere because you're clashing, you're stopping each other, right? You're stopping each other. You are not advancing. So what we need to figure out is a way where the different ideologies can go forward, right, as one. So where a combination of good ideas can go forward instead of always butting heads. Okay, so let's avoid social cruelty. Let's avoid violence. Let's avoid acts of aggressive acts. And let's think. One thing that I have learned in Buddhism is that in order to make decisions, we need to avoid anger, right? Because when you are in a state of ill will or ire or anger, your mind is not thinking well. So then if you are governed by greed and by desire for material things, that doesn't work anymore. We are in the epoch of air. So it's the dominance of ideas is not something that you will grasp and we will have. In fact, books are being done away, newspapers in paper done away. Why? Because everything is light, it's airy. So if you make decisions with greed, that doesn't work. If you make decisions by being doubtful or with anxiety, with remorse, with lethargy, indifference, and that doesn't work. You need to be calm. You need to have your control. The mind needs to be in peace, at peace. So if you need to calm down, if you're angry about something, you need to calm down and then be at a state of mind where you can think and have good ideas. How this could be a very constructive revolution? Well, if you develop ideas, if you have projects, if you have new ideas for a social contract, for example, ideas on the social changes that are very needed, changes in commerce, how to change the commerce, how to change behavior, work, creativity, study, especially study. There's so much ignorance in this world, of course, and we need to be studying. Young people need to study. Put away your phones and study, understand the world, what is going on. So also making associations, groups of people that exchange ideas in a positive, constructive, and collaborative way. Promote the social dialogue. All those things are Aquarius, right? So focus on developing ideas, to think, study previous philosophers. It doesn't mean that you agree with them. It doesn't mean that you will go back to those ideas of Montesquieu or Rousseau or Voltaire or Newton. No. But what I have discovered studying all my life is that if you read people who have good ideas, your mind is stimulated. Either you agree or in some things and you disagree in other things, you take notes. Those ideas could be good. This we can keep, or those we can develop in other ways, etc. So consider informing yourself, but be careful of AI. I will publish underneath the video a conversation that the astrologer Susan Hopkinson, I think. I'll put it down. I put it underneath the video. So you see a conversation that she had with AI about critical thinking. And it's very eye-opening. Very interesting that she shared that with the public because, of course, we really don't know with AI, what AI is doing. And here, AI is explaining how it works. So be informed. And do not give in to your impulses. Do not give in to your anger or violence. This is not constructing anything. You need to be patient for one thing. You know, Saturn is a better companion and better advisor. So, sorry that this video is too long, but you can pick and choose what you listen to, so you can disregard if it is too long for you. Anyways, if you have comments, just be constructive. If you have ideas and you like to share, welcome, but be constructive and positive. People have different ideas, and I respect that, but you don't need to be violent in order to impose your ideas, because everyone can have their ideas, right? We are in a country where we're supposed to have free speech. So this is a video for you. You watch it. This is not, you don't. Okay, so if you have any requests for personal readings, make sure that you send an email to this email on the screen. And you have here my blog address is at sangedastrology.blogspot.com. Thank you for watching if you've come to this point, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.